Okay, we're going to build upon our last example here, but we're going to do some string comparison for our conditionals because it's slightly different. So let's define a string name1 and name2, right? And let's assume we're going to ask the user these two names, and then we're going to tell them if the names are the same or not. So to ask the user a question, right, system.out.println, enter the first name, and then we're going to read that in to name1 with next line, right, because we're reading a string. And then we're going to do the same thing for the second name, and I'm just going to copy that code, right, enter the second name. Can make this a little bigger for you. And we'll read that into name2. Now, we already know how to use if statements, right? If something, then I'm going to print out the names you entered are the same. Now, here's the tricky part. The conditionals we learned before were greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or equals, using a double equals. The common mistake people make is they say if name1 equals name2, then do that. Now, this syntax is incorrect, and here's why. Remember back from our earlier videos, when we declare a variable of type string, you notice that the string is a capital S. All the other variables we declare, like if I declare an int, it's lowercase. And the reason why is that string is not a native Java type. So for that reason, we cannot compare our strings using equals equals. We have to use a string comparison operator. And to determine if it's equals, we say if name1 dot equals, and then we put the second one in parentheses there. So we're saying if name1 dot equals name2, then do this, right? So let's see if this code works, right? So I'll enter it in, enter the first name, Bob, the second name, Jim, and nothing happens because name1 did not equal name2. Now let's run it again. Enter the first name, Bob, second name, Bob, the names you entered are the same. Now, dot equals is very useful. Now, the second one I want to teach you is, let's say a user typed in Bob with a capital B the first time and then lowercase. Notice it doesn't think they're the same because they're not the same. This is capital, this is lower. Sometimes you want to ignore the fact that people might capitalize wrong. And luckily, the string class gives you that. Instead of using dot equals, you can say dot equals ignore case. And what this will do is it'll say if the value of name1 and the value of name2 are the same, ignoring the case, like in this case, then it will still be true. So let's run this again. So if I type Bob with capital and then Bob with lower, it says the names are the same now, which is what I may want in certain circumstances. Now, you don't need to have variables in these instances, right? I could just ask the user to enter a name, enter your name, right? And then I could say if name1 equals, I can actually put a string right in here instead of a variable. If it equals Bob, right, then the name, I could say you entered my name, yay, right? And I can have an else, print line, wrong name, right? Okay, so this is now going to compare the name they typed in with this string Bob, right? Okay, so I run this. If I type, John, wrong name. If I type Bob, you entered my name, right? And since I have equals ignore case, no matter how I enter Bob in, even if I type B-O lowercase b, like that, it's still going to think it works because ignore case ignores the case of all of the letters in the string, right? So again, when you're comparing strings in a conditional statement, you have to use the dot equals or dot equals ignore case instead of using equals equals.